He's escaped police brutality, discrimination, a poor school system, and homelessness to become owner of an online marketing company. He is also the owner of mywordsofwisdom.com, which is ran by him and his eldest son. Ladies and gentlemen, on the line, I have DMG. What up, dude?
What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Appreciate you joining the show, man. Let's take it all the way back. Tell everybody where you grew up.
Born and raised in Compton, Dominguez Valley Hospital. Was there my whole entire life. Well, basically, my most of my life, but I eventually moved out. Got my kids out, and they're doing good now. But Compton is my city for life.
Tell everybody, what your upbringing was like.
Well, everybody's not the same, but I guess typical Compton upbringing. You get whoopings if you did something wrong, or even if you didn't do nothing wrong. Overall, I was a good kid. I went to Tibby Elementary School. I was a good kid, but I just got into a whole lot of fights. I was like the shortest, skinniest kid on the playground, but I was having the most fights. And basically, what I was doing was just protecting the have-nots from the haves, the bullies, and that caused me a lot, getting in trouble at home as well. But overall, I had a good upbringing. Overall, I was a hustler. I used to go to J.J. Newberry's off of Rosecrans and Central when it was there, and still in pencils and come to school and sell them for $0.25. I used to wash cars on the weekends for people. I was just a hustler. I cut grass and all that kind of stuff until I got into my teenage years and, turned into doing what they was doing in the 80s. And you know what that is. Then I started, DJing, and that's what really, I think me starting doing the DJ, that saved my life. Music saved my life.
Tell us about what Compton was like growing up before pre-crack, pre-gangs. What do you remember about the early years of Compton?
Well, it was always gangs. Pre-crack, it was always gangs. In the neighborhood that I grew up in, it wasn't a gang in the moment until I left I grew up off of Rosecrans and Central. I moved to Wilmington, off of Wilmington and Caldwell when I was like 12 years old. So I went from the neighborhood that I grew up eventually ended up being Blood, but it was Bloods all around it. But when I left, it was Blood. So I moved from a so-called Blood neighborhood to a Crip neighborhood, but I still had ties and friends with my people that I grew up with. So I never ended up claiming no hood because I have loyalty to the people I know. So if I'm friends with you, no matter if you on the blue side or the red side, I'm friends with you. So that's just my mentality. So I never claimed no hood. However, when you growing up, you were always affiliated with the people you around. So I'm not saying I'm an angel, but I'm not saying I'm dirty, crazy dirty either. But I still have friends on both sides. I can go anywhere in Compton right now to this day, and it won't be no beef or nobody will trip on me. And plus, music is what helped me be international on both sides too.
Let's talk about early Compton. I want to stay on that because I'm fascinated by the fact that, there were once a majority black businesses in Compton, and that's unfortunately almost rare nowadays. But what do you remember about the landscape, specifically, black businesses? What do you remember about just the general feel of Compton back then when it comes, from a black perspective?
It was a lot of black businesses back then. The majority was black businesses. I mean, yeah, a lot. But towards the 80s, when the crack came, people started selling houses and selling their businesses to Koreans who came in. And I remember having a conversation with somebody last week about this. There was this big tire shop on Rosecrans and Wilmington. It was a tire shop. It was big. It was a whole. It's still the space is still there, but it's a lot of businesses. And I remember my father talking to somebody saying that these Koreans offered this man a price that he couldn't turn down. And me growing up as a hustler and an entrepreneur, I used to wonder why I would see these black people, and then a couple, weeks, months later, I see Koreans in there, and it used to really affect me. Like, why are these people selling their businesses instead of leaving a legacy for their children and their children's children? I still have that mentality to this day. But it was a lot more businesses, and then you had Sears off of Long Beach Boulevard, which became the Swap Meet, which is Walmart now. So the whole landscape of Compton has changed. They tore down a lot of buildings from back then and built them up, which change is good, and you're supposed to evolve. But I wish we would have evolved still owning businesses here, because we don't hardly own anything. At least we used to have barbershops. You know, we still have a couple barbershops,
Yeah.
but that's about it. We had burger stands, we had grocery stores, we had cleaners. We owned them all. We had car washes. We still got a couple car washes. Those are the simple things. But I mean, to have a black-owned grocery store is key. We have one now. I think it's owned by a woman off of Rosecrans and Central, across the street from the burger stand and from Food for Less. It's a black-owned grocery store. So even when I was like living in Palos Verdes and living in Carson, whenever I would come to Compton, I would go patronize that woman and spend money in there on purpose, just because she was a black owner. And I will continue to do that. We had all the restaurants were owned by us back then. It was a cool place to live. I mean, you know, when I started getting older, when the crack came, it made things worse. But overall, from the time I was born up until, I don't know, turning 12, it was good. It was good. And like I said, I still love my city.
So you're born in 69. So you said when you were 12. So we're talking, what, about 81, 82 is when you noticed a change. And talk to me about the early 80s and when things all over LA, not just LA, but LA County, but all over the country, Detroit, Philly, you know, Miami was getting hit with this new drug called crack cocaine. What do you remember about, just from your eyes, how everything changed?
Well, I had an uncle who opened up a tire shop in North Long Beach, right off of Greenleaf and Long Beach Boulevard. And I was working for him from the time I was, I think 12, in the summer of 12 years old, and then the next year in the summer of 13 years old. And business went slow for him, and come to find out, he started to sell, you know, he started selling crack. And then there were some older guys. I won't mention names or nothing like that, but I won't mention the neighborhoods they're from, but they worked for him. And they were like 19 and 20 when I'm 12 and 13. And I learned a lot from them. And then my uncle used to have me making runs for him, and I didn't even know what I was doing. Go drop this off over here. Go pick up money from over here. And I wasn't driving at the time, so these, you know, 19, 20-year-olds would just take me, and I would go in the house or go to the door and make the exchange. Yeah, that's how I first got introduced to it. And then they started getting closer to me, and then they started showing me the stuff. And then eventually, when I was probably like 15, I started selling it, but I sold it for myself, and I wasn't trying to be a kingpin. I was just doing it for extra money. You know, I make a quick $100, $200, and I'm good for the day. But like I said, I was doing music, and back then I always had a real job too. I used to work at Kenny Shoes in the Carson Mall when I was 10 years old. Yeah. I worked for a catering company, Jay's Catering, at the Carson Community Center as well. So yeah, it was. Damn. Yeah. And see, when crack came, it magnified the gang culture, because now you have people whose parents are on drugs. They can't afford to buy school clothes. They can barely eat. So those kids that didn't have no money end up becoming gangbangers, and then the OGs had them selling dope for them. So then it became territorial. Then you got the Spanish people coming in, the Mexicans was coming in, and they was fighting for territory as well. So you got the blacks coming in, you got the Mexicans coming in, and a lot of neighborhoods, honestly, people won't agree to say this, but the Mexicans won. I mean, because there's power in numbers, and plus they stuck together much more than we did back then. And the Mexicans, they ended up winning. They won. They won the fight, and they ended up bringing in the drugs a lot cheaper than everybody else was getting it for too. So people started buying from them, especially weed. And
then, you know, it's almost like a perfect storm, and I say that because that's for lack of better words. But not only did you have crack cocaine, but you had this thing in the streets bubbling up called gangster rap, reality rap. You have Ice-T, you have Toddy T, you have you know, Mixed Master Spade, you have NWA and Eazy-E. What are your thoughts when you know, I'm not, and let us know if you were in the DJ game at this time, but what do you remember about the upswing of gangster rap?
Well, I think the first gangster rap song I ever heard was 6 in the Morning by Ice-T.
Yeah.
Then I remember I got the 12-inch of Boys in the Hood from my cousin who stayed near Easy at the time. And I think I was probably 15, 16, but maybe 16 when she gave that to me. And I fell in love with it the first time I heard it. It was different. At the time, I was 15, and that's when I started to DJ. I just had two Raggio. I had two Technique 100s, not even 1200s, but I had Technique 100 and a little Newmark mixer and a radio, a double, you know, the double cassette.
Oh yeah.
And I used to record from there. But I mean, it was people in the neighborhood doing that kind of rap. But if they never got famous, they never blew up, they never got signed. So Easy wasn't the first one doing it, because there was other people too. He was just the biggest that came out from Compton. But like I said, my cousin gave me the record. I fell in love with it, and I was selling mixtapes at the time. And I remember seeing Easy a couple of times at the Compton swap meet. This was before I knew him, before I met him, before I started working with him. I used to just see him. He'd come deliver those records, and I forgot the guy's name, but it was Psychedelic Records, the biggest record store in Compton. And he used to buy the record, right? Yeah, Kim. Yeah, yep. And then his son ended up taking it over, you know, eventually. But yeah, he used to sell the records up there. I used to see him, I don't know, every couple of weeks, once a month or two here and there, selling his EPs. And then, like I said, me being a DJ, I was getting all the records. I was getting promotional copies from different companies and stuff like that. So it was exciting for me. It was something new, and it was something common, because I used to see the stuff happening in real life. They were talking about on wax.
Yeah,
I lived it. I seen it. You know, I'm not going to say how too much I was involved in it, but I was involved a little bit, and I witnessed more than I was involved in. But if you from the streets, if you're from Compton, you're going to be affiliated in some type of way. I just didn't take it to the level to a lot of people did. I wasn't going to be, you know, stuck like that. I had some brains in me, you know.
Did you ever run into Easy back then? I know you said you had a partner or family member who lived close to him, but did you run across Easy, Ren, Drake, you know, during those days? I used to work with him.
Oh, okay. I used to work with him. I had a buddy, rest in peace, Big Man, who knew Eazy-E. They were like best friends. They were literally best friends. Okay, me and him reconnected when I was, I don't know, probably 18 or something like that, because I known him from my uncle's tire shop, and I was just DJing at the time. This is before I even got any equipment, and he was like, "Yeah, I know Easy, blah 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 blah." So he started taking me to the studio in Torrance at Audio Achievement, where they was recording all of them albums and stuff. So that's how I ended up meeting Easy through him. But even before then, I was DJing. So sometimes I would DJ places and they would show up, and Yella wouldn't be there. I remember I think I was like 18, and I was 18, 19 years old, and they had a big giant concert at Compton High. I mean, you had Big Daddy Kane, you had KRS-One, you had a lot of. It was the biggest thing Compton had ever seen as far as rap. It was. I think the concert was free too. It was huge. It was huge, and it was our turn. My group was DMG and Daddy V. I'm sure a lot of your listeners gonna know those names, DMG and Daddy V. But it was our turn. I remember them coming in. They went in the back, what we call a green room. It wasn't a green room, it was just a big tent. But they called us up, so it was our time to perform. I brought my equipment. I'm the DJ, so I brought my equipment, hooked it up, and then all of a sudden they came and said that NWA is about to perform. You got to get off the stage. I'm like, what you mean? I'm not getting off the stage. So I got mad because we just a local group. How's gonna look at us coming after NWA? So I'm like, I'm not coming after NWA. So I took my turntables down. They couldn't perform without no turntables. So I unhooked my turntables, And I'm coming down, so they begged me to put them back up. And I'll never forget this. Izzy was like, "What you gonna do, man?" You know, he used to talk like real calm, cool, and collective in real life. You go up with them, you go down with the turntables. What you gonna do? So they end up performing, and we end up performing after them. We did great, but of course, the audience is not gonna you know, handle it like that. So I ran into him a lot of times. My first time, I remember at Skateland USA. So I could talk about all this all day.
Please, dog. I'm loving it.
So I remember being at Skateland USA. Lonzo, the Wrecking Crew, used to DJ up there, which was Yella and Dr. Dre. And I think, for a fact, it was Dr. Dre and Yella DJing. And I remember I came up to the DJ booth and I'm like, "Hey, Dre, let me DJ." He was like, "Here." And he just moved out the way and let me DJ. And he walked away. He left. So I DJed for about 20 minutes, and then Yella came and was like, "Okay, it's my turn." And you know, he started DJing. But eventually, I ended up getting a record deal for a group called Menage a Trois. I'm the one who got them their record deal.
Oh shit! That was whose group was that? Was it Unknowns or was it?
No, it was Yella's.
It was Yella's.
I brought them
exactly. There you go.
I'm gonna tell you the whole truth and nothing but the truth. I actually brought him the Easy first.
Okay.
I'm telling you stuff that nobody on the planet know. So I brought him the Easy, and he was like, "It's cool. It's cool. Give me another song. Give him another song. It's all right. Give him another song. You're not serious." And then when Big Man let Yella hear it, Yella was like, "I want to work with him." And we started working with Yella from that point on.
Who are some other people that, you know, you remember from Compton kind of bubbling up that you rubbed shoulders with back then? I mean, shit, Compton, we had 8, we had CMW. I mean.
But that's what I was about to say. 8 was I'm going to say CMW because we can't leave out Chill.
Of course.
You know, and I can't leave out my boy either.
Mike and Capone.
Yeah,
and Capone.
And Capone, my boy. I can't leave him out. King T. Of course, a DJ for Toddy. A DJ for Mixmaster Spade. So, and of course, me and Todd is still friends to this day. Me and Tila, King T, is still cool to this day. I remember I went to Carson High for a half a year, for 2 quarters. And Joe Cooley was DJing, and I walked up and asked him, "Can I DJ?" He was like, he let me DJ too. So, Joe Cooley's from Compton too.
Yeah.
What's the dude from Southside? It's a few other people that I know about that you might not remember. It's another guy from Southside ended up getting a deal with Def Jam. I can't remember his name. What's his name?
See, not Dazzy D. Who am I thinking?
No, I know Dazzy D too.
Southside.
I met Dazzy D through Toddy T. I did a track for Todd. It was a sample, and we took it to Dazzy D for him to have it all played original, with all live music. And then I ended up meeting him again in the Valley. Somebody he knew brought me by there. Just anybody that was from Compton I'm not going to say had to come through me, but I knew them or they knew me.
How did you become DJ for Mixmaster Spade?
To be honest with you, I thought about it yesterday. I don't even remember. I don't remember how we met. I remember when I was like 17, because we grew up in the same, we lived in the same neighborhood. He stayed up on Northwood. I stayed on White Marsh. And I remember I had turned one of my buddies on to DJing, and he was like my protege, but I was good. I hadn't lost no battle, so I was like, I'm going to go battle Mixmaster Spade. We walked to his house. I knocked on the door. I'm a kid, little skinny kid. I knocked on the door and was like, "Hey, Spade here?" They was like, "No." I'm glad he wasn't, because I probably wouldn't have been his DJ after that. Who knows? I probably would have. I don't know. But he probably wouldn't have challenged me. But, yeah.
Okay.
What was your question again?
Yeah, no, just wondering how you linked up with them.
Oh, I honestly do not remember how. I don't remember. I don't. I tried to remember it yesterday, but I don't remember. I remember being in Carson at a party. I remember that. and I probably met him there, but I did meet him there, but I'm not sure if that's how we became me being him as DJ. I'm not sure how that happened. I don't remember that part, but I do remember the stories that, you know, going to the studios and stuff like that, going a lot of places with him.
Yeah. Let's talk about Spade, man. Legend. He's one of the first people that made me fall in love with hip hop. Just his sing-songy, you know what I'm saying, verse, his visual, you know, the way he was rapping, but you could picture it, you know what I'm saying, the Just Say No and all that. I remember that very vividly as a kid, thinking, dude, I love this guy, not even knowing. I was probably 8 or 9, didn't even know anything about anything back then. But what type of guy was Mixmaster Spade? What do you remember about him?
Spade, he loved entertaining people. He was humble. He was very humble, and he loved entertaining people, and he did like attention as well, though, too. But Spade was real cool. I remember I had a DJ a party once, and I can't remember what van I had, a truck I had, and I was like, it's not enough room. Spade taught me how to load up a truck. We took some stuff out and organized it, and I never had a problem after that. I never had a problem, no matter how much equipment I had, no matter how big the speakers were, because you start off with cheap stuff and then you end up getting bigger and better stuff. But I never had a problem, and it was all because of Spade. But no, Spade was real cool people. I got a whole lot of love for Spade. Nothing but positive things to say about Spade.
Yeah, give us some good stories. Just, you know, one thing that stands out, an experience you had with them. R.I.P. by the way.
Right. I remember us going to the studio one night, because he used to book the studio time at 12 o'clock at night. We used to be in the studio from 12 o'clock at night to 6 or 8 in the morning. And I remember we used to go to clubs like before the studio to meet girls or try to pull some girls. And I remember asking them one time, like, and I'm young and I'm new to the real studio scenes. And you know how when you look at stuff right now, you see, when you look at sessions, you always see a gang of homeboys inside the studio.
Right. And
it was kind of like that on a different level, a little bit smaller, but he would always try to have girls around him and stuff. And I'm like, why don't you just come and take care of business and, you know, see them later? He was like, I want them to see what I do. There's not a lot of rappers out there. It's not a lot of people to do what we do. And I just like to share that with other people. You know, he mentioned that to me. Now, like I said, I was probably like 18 years old, and I remember that. He introduced me to a lot of engineers. I learned a lot from these engineers, even before I started engineering. But what I learned from them, I brought that into me engineering. But it started with Spade. I'm pretty sure that's how I met Todd, too. I met King T through Spade. I met a lot of people through Spade. Oh, watch this. Okay. I remember we had a show to do in Oakland. King T talked about this on another person's podcast. I won't mention the name. But I remember King T talking about doing a show in Oakland, and he said that they were throwing change at him on stage. Well, I was there. And I'm going to tell you, Keela, if you're listening
change,
to this.
as in dollars and quarters and dimes and stuff?
Quarters, nickels, and dimes, yeah. He mentioned it on another podcast. But I'm going to tell you how it started. What happened was he had just came out with a single. I can't remember. I think it was Act the Fool or something. I'm not sure. But he had this. It was a single. It was a 12-inch. So he played the B-side. And it was a slow song. They had never heard it before. And I forgot who went on before them. But, I mean, because it was MC Light, Boogie Down Production, 783. It was a lot of people performing. So he's performing, somebody's throwing a nickel or dime here and there. And then after the song went off, he said, if y'all throw another dime up here, I'm going to get off the stage and whoop-de-whoop, whoop-de-whoop. Everybody started throwing money.
Damn.
Nickels, dimes, quarters, and
Oakland's the wrong place to test somebody.
Yeah, it was they was coming so much. And I'm on the side, backstage, and he just ran off stage. And when he got off stage, he said it was coming like bullets. He never got to finish the show. But, so when we out there, like, Spade didn't drink and he didn't smoke, right? So after the show, we chilling, we got girls and all this kind of stuff. And Spade ended up getting kicked out the hotel. This is another story nobody gonna know about. Because Spade didn't drink, but he just happened to take a sip of a beer that night, and he got into it with the lady at the counter, and they kicked him out and made him go to another hotel. Another crazy story nobody's gonna know about. Johnny J was there. You heard of Johnny J, right?
Of course, yeah. Pac producer, and them, R.I.P. as well.
Yeah, Johnny J was there too. T-Fly, all them people was there. Candyman performed too. Candyman was there. He performed. Yeah, it was real cool. Damn. But yeah, that's a few of the things that I can remember. It's a lot more party, but those are some of the things that I remember about being with Spade.
I love that, man. Was this after his songs, were big, or was this during or before? What time period are we talking in Mixmaster Spade's life? This
is 1988, maybe.
Okay, just a couple years after that, then. So that song's popping, like still the Just Say No and the Batteram. What were some of the cities you guys traveled to? Because that song was, from what I understand, it was big everywhere.
I mean, we used to do Orange County, mainly L.A., Orange County, and our biggest one that while I was with him was, like I said, the Oakland thing. But I quit prematurely. And the reason why, all the stuff that I'm telling you, I haven't told nobody. I think some of this stuff maybe my son might know, but other than that, nobody.
Thank you.
So, you have no problem. We were in L.A. at a high school, and see, Spade, we never practiced. I never had a practice. We never rehearsed, not one time. Never.
Wow.
We would get to the location, or we'd drive to the location, and he'll say, play this song, a verse of this song, a verse of that song, and then we're going to do this song, we're going to do this. And I would have to memorize all that in my head, like within, seconds. And then sometimes he might try to change it at the last minute. And so we performed, and I think he performed 2 or 3 songs. And then I put on the song, the right song, but I put the vocal version on it. And he was like, turn off the music, DMG, turn off the music. I don't lip sync. So I had to turn it over and put the instrumental on. So we finished the show, and I was upset. I was offended that he had embarrassed me in front of the whole school. So I think that following weekend, a few days later or something, we had a show to do in Orange County at some club. He was like, DMG, I'm on my way to pick you up. I was like, no, you're not. He was like, what you talking about? We got a show. I was like, no, you got a show. And he was like, well, what's the problem? And I told him. He was like, oh, man, don't take that personal. I was like, well, I'm taking it personal. I didn't go to the show, so I quit. I don't know if Todd will remember this, but Todd ended up DJing for him that night because Spade called me the next day. And they didn't have the records, and Todd didn't expect to DJ for him. So Spade had a cassette, and he asked Todd, this is what Spade told me, he asked Todd to play the tape for him. Todd pushed record, play and record by accident, and erased the tape.
Whoa.
And erased them. Spade was like, I couldn't, if you would have came, that wouldn't happen. He erased it by accident. So I don't know what happened with the whole show, but that's what Spade had told me. Yeah, that was something. Yeah.
Yeah, I love this behind the scenes stuff, man. Appreciate you sharing, dude. Talk to us about Toddy T, man. Now let's pivot over to Toddy T, another groundbreaking figure in the early West Coast hip hop. What do you remember about his come up, and how did you guys link up?
Like I don't remember how specifically how we linked up, but I think it was through Spade. But Todd is another humble person, extremely humble. I've always been there for Todd. He's always been there for me. I learned something from Todd before too. Now, mind you, I'm a teenager at this time, so now I'm maybe 20. I may be 20 years old at this time. And I remember Todd calling me one day and was like, "Can I use your speakers? He has to use something of mine." And he said, "No." I said, "The only time you call me is when you need me." And he said to me, and I'll never forget these words, he said, "Well, that's the time you're supposed to call people."
I mean, damn.
he's not even that much older than me, but he said that, and it stuck to my brain even to this day. Now, if somebody else would have said it that wasn't Todd, and Todd been consistent our whole relationship, even if I don't talk to him for years, if I call him right now and he got something I need, guess what? He gonna say, okay, DMG, come get it. So with those words coming from him, I receive it. Because if I needed him for something right now, he's gonna come through. If he got it, he's gonna come through. So yeah, but overall, Todd is still to this day still good. I talked to him, I don't know, about 6 months ago. We don't talk often, but it was a good conversation. And like I said, he's humble. He stayed humble even, through his fame and stuff. He was a football coach for many, many, many years. I'm not sure if he's coaching right now, but he coached for many years. He coached my son for 2 seasons. Then we ended up going I moved to Pomona, and so my younger kids was playing for Snoop Dogg League. But Todd actually helped Snoop start winning games.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. Snoop came to Todd for some advice. Todd don't know I know this, but Snoop came to Todd about some advice, like how you winning all these games, quote unquote. And this is what Snoop told me, what Todd told him. He said, you got to give up the passion for winning so much and just have fun. Stop putting so much pressure on the kids. Teach them right. Tell them to play hard, but don't beat them up all the time. If they make a mistake or something. And Snoop took that advice and he started winning and became a coach and got his own league. So that's something from Todd. Todd is real cool people. Todd is not a hater, has never been a hater. He's not going to try to keep nothing from you. If he can help you in any way, he'll do it, even if you his competition. I love Todd.
What do you remember about first hearing Batteram? And for anyone who doesn't know, let me give you a quick breakdown. Early 80s, LA. I can't remember who was in charge and who, made the final call, but they created this big ass tank with a big old ram in the front of it. And, drug dealers, by the time the cops would get in the house, before these battering rams, they would have already flushed the stuff down the toilet, swallowed it, threw it out, blah, blah, blah. So the cops come up with this bright idea to create this Batteram, boom, just bust into the side of your house. And a lot of the times they would bust into the wrong house. There were several times where they got the neighbors and they were supposed to get the other person. And so that ended kind of quickly. But, Toddy T and Mixmaster Spade made this song that, was talking about something very specific to LA. But once again, it blew up all over the country. But what do you remember about first hearing the song Batteram? And do you remember even, hearing stories about a Batteram from people in LA during that time?
Well, I was around. I was young. I was like 15, 16 years old. Well, I was about 15 when they started doing the Batteram. And so whenever they hit a house, whether it's LA or Compton, it was always on the news. But me first hearing the Batteram, I was still in high school, and I remember hearing it, but the copy that I had, it had been dubbed over 1 million times, so the quality wasn't good. It took me probably about a month to get a good quality tape. And it was the best. It was like me hearing Boys in the Hood. It was like, This is dope. This is dope. But it was on a mixtape with other songs, though. But when we heard that, it was the hottest thing in Compton, in Los Angeles, period, on the streets. It was the biggest mixtape there was in Los Angeles County. The post that I put in the post on Facebook, the group, it's a whole bunch of people since I posted Todd and Spade. Everybody's like, where can I get this? Where can I get this? Where can I get it? Where can I get it? Where can I get it? I wish I still had it. Of course I had all the records, but that's another interview. I went through a divorce and she took everything, stole everything, so I have none of that stuff that I had in the past. So I don't even have a copy of my own stuff. No hard copies of my own stuff. But the Batteram was the hottest thing around. I mean, everybody could relate because they seen it on the news. And everybody knew a drug dealer. Either you were a drug dealer or a drug dealer. And we knew about houses getting raided. We knew about everything because we've seen it. So when the Batteram came out, we could all relate to it. And the ones who couldn't relate to it was an astonishment. Like, this is really happening in LA?
Mm-hmm.
This is really happening? Yeah, it was really happening. Like you said, a lot of times they go to the wrong house, so they start getting sued a lot. But so they had to stop it eventually. But it was a terrible thing. You get your whole house just bulldozed in. I mean, even if you are a drug dealer, they shouldn't have the right to do that. And then for them to be going in the wrong houses, that's even worse. But they didn't care about us, so But that's another story. Let's keep it positive.
Doing my research, I know you were friends with Nate Dogg. You were friends with Coolio. R.I.P. to both. I know Snoop Dogg. Even you and him have a close relation because he used to rock your clothing brand. Is it Westwear? Am I saying that correctly?
Yeah, you've been doing your research, huh?
I mean, I try to, man. I appreciate people coming on my show, so I always want to make sure I, properly do my research, especially when it comes to hip hop. But take us back to those days, man, the Westwear days, and Snoop is rocking your gear, and maybe even talk to us about the late great Nate Dogg and even Coolio.
Okay, well, at the time I was working on DMG and Daddy V album. I was the record company, the manager, the producer, and everything, and we ended up coming out with the album. So I at the time I was doing a lot of production for a lot of different independent artists. So I didn't even tell you about this stuff. So I'm the king of the West Coast on mixtapes.
Okay.
So I started the Compton Swap Meet. I say that on purpose for a reason. Anybody don't know the real history? I started the Compton Swap Meet as big as it is with mixtapes. So when we came out with the album, once I started doing production, I left the swap meet alone, and Daddy V was up there by himself and with his employees, and even employees that I had left back. I let him have them. So I'm promoting the album and I'm producing music for people. So I stopped selling it. So one day I came, after I did everything I think it was a Saturday or something, I came to the swap meet just to chill, see the homies. And it was a Japanese dude up there. And come to find out, Daddy V was selling him mixtapes every month. He was coming from Japan every month. So you guys getting the whole backdrop of everything. The whole, nothing but the truth. So he was coming from Japan every month. He would buy clothes and buy hip-hop stuff, anything black, anything urban that he think he can make some money off of in Japan. Because if you talk to any artist, even underground artists, they're going to always say Japan.
Yeah.
They love our heritage. They love our culture. They love our music. They love our clothes. They even love our food when they come out here. So I told one of my ex-employees who was working for Daddy V at the time, I said, here, go sell him these cassettes and these CDs of the DMG and Daddy V album. It's just a ghetto thing. So he went over there to sell him a CD and a tape. He ended up buying 10 cassettes from me and 10 CDs from me. Because my stuff is in stores and I'm shipping it out, but I'm still a hustler. I'm still a street hustler too. So I always walked around with my product. You know what I mean? So I sold him 10 and 10. A week later, he calls Daddy V and said, do you want to come to Japan? So of course we do. So we end up going to Japan, and me being a hustler, like I said in the beginning, him buying clothes every month, I'm like, we can come up with our own clothes, our own design. So I designed the original, I came up with the name Westwear. I designed the original, or the tag and the label, the original design. That's how the clothing line started from there. I'm going to try to keep it positive without, saying anything negative about anybody. But so it got big. So I was manufacturing the clothes and I was sending the clothes to Japan. Eventually we ended up getting a store there. Plus we had like 13 stores that we wholesale to, that my ex-partner wholesale to. So the stuff was blowing up. And me knowing all the rappers, if I go to a concert or something, or I'm with Coolio, or I'm with Snoop, or if I'm with Nate Dogg or Warren G or Mac 10, here, put this on, I'm going to take a picture. Of course, I'm from the hood. I'm DMG. They're not going to charge me. They're going to charge somebody else. So I'm accumulating all these pictures. Now we're getting flyers done. We're getting posters done. And one around Christmas time, we needed the clothes real fast. So instead of me shipping the clothes to Japan, I flew to Japan to deliver the clothes myself because it was going to be faster. It wouldn't fit a week in customs. I could just take it through with me, pay the fees, the taxes, the duties, and I'm gone. So it just so happened that Snoop was doing some concerts out there when I went. Well, my ex-partner's wife used to dance for a promoter when rappers came to the city, to Tokyo. So she knew the promoter. Well, she knew a promoter that knew the promoter for him performing. So we go to the hotel. I have to wait like everybody else, all these photographers and magazine writers and all that stuff. So he come in, and when he saw me, he said, yo, DMG and Daddy V is in motion. Snoop knew me, and I didn't know him. So we chopped it up. He gave me his house number in New Orleans or wherever Master P bought it. He gave me his cell phone number, and he gave me his manager number. He wanted to hook up like he was that like cool, like he was that cool. He wanted to link up with me, and that's how me and Snoop got hooked up, and that's how he started wearing the clothes and stuff. And that's the story how Westward got with Snoop, and how it became big. And I ended up opening up me and my ex partner broke up. He tried to use me, and that's another story. So I ended up getting, I got a spot on Compton Boulevard off of Long Beach Boulevard, and that was my wholesale place. Then I opened up a retail store in right around the corner in walking distance, right on Long Beach Boulevard off of Compton Boulevard, which I shouldn't have opened up there, but that's another story. But that's the backdrop of, that's everything on Westware, at least this segment. Maybe I'll come again and talk about stuff.
That's dope.
But that's how it started. Yeah. You getting everything that nobody else ever got.
I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. One more thing, Nate Dogg and Coolio, man, two legends that we lost. I know you knew them personally as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Coolio, of course, I knew before he even blew up, before he got a record deal. He used to come to parties that I promote. He was a part of the LA Posse. Do you know? I'm looking at him. I'm looking at his face. I can't. Anyway, Coolio was a part of the LA Posse, if I remember right. With DJ Cool and all them. And so, since me being with Spade a lot, of course, Coolio was there. Dub C, and just man, it was a lot of fun back then. But I've been to Coolio's house, the mansion, when he was in Fox Hills, which was the biggest house I ever been in. I haven't been in a lot of mansions, but that was the biggest. I mean, it's like 4 floors, had an elevator in it. It was, yeah. And he was another one. He was super humble. Coolio was, whenever I asked him to take pictures, no problem. He invited me to his house a gang of times, looking at the fight, chilling, having drinks and stuff. Matter of fact, Coolio wore my clothes to the Magic Show in Vegas. You know what the Magic Show is?
Yep.
He wore my stuff to the. Had a bad experience there. With that's another story too. But yeah, he wore my stuff there too. So me and Coolio was hella cool, super cool, real down to earth. We were friends. Nate Dogg, rest in peace. Of course, everybody knew me from the Compton Swap Meet, so he already knew me too. Warren G, they all knew me already. But me being in contact, I was only in contact with Nate Dogg all the time because I was always with Snoop. So if Nate Dogg didn't have nothing to do, he was going to be with Snoop too. Because wherever Snoop go, it's going to be fun. It's going to be, a party. But Nate Dogg was around for work. We in the studio. Nate Dogg is there to see if he can put a hook on it. If he can't put no hook on nothing, Nate Dogg used to be out. But he was real. He was down to earth too. I remember being at I don't know. I think it was in Hollywood at a video shoot. When we was in the trailer. I think it was the Next Episode video with Dre and Snoop and them. And we was in the trailer, and Nate Dogg used to always have a 5th of Hennessy with him. And I was like, I got 5 on it. That's when the song got. He was like, no, all you need is a cup. And I got me one of them little red plastic cups, and he poured me a couple shots, and we just chilled. And went to the video. But Nate was real cool too. Could play, all of them could play basketball good. Nate, Snoop, Warren, they all good in basketball. But Nate was real quiet like me. Nate was always quiet. He didn't really talk too much. But he was always cool and down to earth.
Damn. R.I.P. to some legends, man. I appreciate you coming on, man. I feel like we just scratched the surface, so hopefully we can do this in the near future. And I would love to get Alonzo, maybe involved as well, and so he can, participate. But a lot of good stuff, man. I really appreciate you coming on. Is there anything you want to promote? I know you have some books as well. I did my research. You go into relationships and things like that in your books. Is there anything you want to promote? The floor is yours.
Yeah, I can promote the book. I did write a book, self-published a book. It's called When His Ways Meet Yours. The subtitle is When You Love You, He Will Follow Suit. It's basically for women, but it's men friendly, and it's a book. It's an inspirational book. It's motivation. It's self-help. It's to bring up the woman so she can be a foundation for her man. Want to know more? Buy the book. You can get it at my website at mywordsofwisdom.com, or you can get it on Amazon. All you got to do is look up When His Ways Meet Yours.
Yeah, I love that, man. And thank you for that. We got to try to keep the family together. And I know you've had your troubles with relation. Hey, it happens to everybody. At least half of marriages end in divorce. So who better to learn from someone who, has probably made mistakes himself. So definitely cop that book. And I'm going to put the link in the description as well. Man, it's been a pleasure, dude. Thank you so much for coming on.
I'm at a crossroads every damn day, looking back at my past when I sleep. But living on the edge, not doing enough. Iniquity down to my feet. What do I do when I need a little food and I gotta get the money for the rent? Fall to my knees, pray to the Lord, come my son, he can give me some money, repent. What, thank you. I really love you, baby, so I spank you. Life is a wet straight fucking you up. Living in a prison, I'ma shank you. So what's love got to do when you're winning with my heart on my sleeve, I'm a foe. But she said she loved me, she wanted to hug me under my sheets, so it's getting told.
And I spy with my little mind's eye, dreams that are beyond what you can see in daylight, baby, ignore the rain. And everything gon' be okay. And while the world burns, I'll be near the skyline, and I'll be biding my time till I can ride the wave. Then everything gon' be okay. Yeah. What are the chances? You're picking a flight, we're leaving tonight. Pack up your bags, we're leaving this place and this baggage. Cause what can we do while Rome is collapsing? But not in the day, we'll be okay. Let's hit the off your Jackson. Or pull up the map then, cause I'm through keeping up with these Joneses. Don't care what they're posting, you only see what they show you. Let's fall off the grid then, cause we don't owe nothing to no one. Darling, just listen, it'll be just like starting over. And I spy with my little mind's eye, dreams that are beyond what you can see in daylight, baby, ignore the rain. And everything gon' be okay. And while the world burns, I'll be near the skyline, and I'll be biding my time till I can ride the wave. Then everything gon' be okay.
I don't even know why I'm here. Wanna be on a beach somewhere, feet kicked up in my chair, smoke all up in the air, clouds are looking lovely. My girl is by my side, my gun is by my side. But why do cameras always make me look so ugly? And the smile fades when they disappear, till it's only you wishing someone cared. Feeling out the window, is anybody there? Does anybody care? Was the rope in the fucking chair? And since God wanna play these fucking games, I'ma take it there. Bang, bang.
And I spy with my little mind's eye, dreams that are beyond what you can see in daylight, baby, ignore the rain. And everything gon' be okay. And while the world burns, I'll be near the skyline, and I'll be biding my time till I can ride the wave. Then everything gon' be okay.
Let me slide on in like I hit a home run. Bottle of the night, I get the job done. Celebrating life, popping bottles like I wanna. Pour some out for the homies, I'm on ya. Reminisce on your memory every time I blaze a tree. Voices in my head keep on urging me. Tell about the story, hey, they came from the hood. All about the paper, many years misunderstood. Thinking I could one day make it on the big stage.